Hey everyone, something I wasn't sure was going to happen has actually finally happened. The Crew 2 is not only getting a 5th year of updates, it's also getting next-gen updates as well. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit the like button and consider subscribing for more gaming reviews and discussions. With that said, let's get into it. I'm actually in the middle of a just gigantic, big in-depth review on Gran Turismo 7. That is probably going to be out in a few days. It is one of my longest scripts. I'm probably going to need to cut down a little bit, but while working on it, I saw the update on Twitter that they are indeed doing another year of updates for the Crew 2, making it the 5th year of updates. I honestly wasn't sure if the 4th year was going to be the last, but then they actually came out in their financials last year, and the Crew 2, believe it or not, has made more money last year than it has any other year. They actually making more money year on year, which is just insane. Part of that's because of it's just been constantly updated, and they did add in the kind of, they call it a motor pass. It's basically a battle pass. It's compared to other battle passes, it's pretty decent. I do wish it had more like cosmetic stuff to the reward, but if you do, you really just need to buy it once, and then you get enough credits to buy the next one. But then obviously that kind of forces you to just keep playing the game continually because you don't want to miss out on the next battle pass. But that's a topic for another video. Today, they actually released a video on YouTube and Twitter kind of going over the updates that are going to be coming up over the next year, and they also put out kind of like an infographic showing some of the stuff, and it's really great to see. So one of the biggest things is going to be there will be a 60 FPS update for next-gen consoles. Now that's only on Series X and PlayStation 5, but, I mean, they've been out for a year and a half now almost, and I honestly thought it was past time. Like, I thought if it was going to happen, it would have happened sometime last year, and now we're going to see it. It actually won't come out until July. Apparently, in the video they went over, it was far more complicated than they originally thought it would be. I'm not sure why, because it is 60 FPS on PC, and I know there is an issue with PC. It actually can't go over 60 FPS, which is something I talked about in my review, which is very uncommon for a modern game, but I think from what people have said, they've kind of tied the physics to the frame rate, so it must be an issue, which is something that should never really be done in modern gaming, or at least I don't think it should be. I mean, I'm not, for what everyone says it should be done. It would be really nice to see 120 Hz or 144 Hz update for PC, but at least getting the 60 FPS on consoles is really, really great to see, because now people are getting the next-gen consoles, and they're going to want to keep playing these live service games, and we are seeing more and more companies, especially Ubisoft, continue to support their games years and years after launch, because they build up these, huge communities, and, they're basically can be played forever, so people don't want to stop playing them. So as long as they consistently come out with, big new updates, people are going to want to keep playing them. And obviously when you upgrade your PC, the best part about getting a brand new PC is going back and playing all of your old games that you love at higher frame rates and higher resolutions. And turning up all the graphical settings. So, considering the next gen or current gen consoles are basically just PCs at this point, you really do want to get that, and everything's backward compatible. Outside of like a tiny few amount of games, you do want to get that kind of graphics boost when you upgrade your console now. I'm not sure why they couldn't get that on the Series S. Like, even if they gave you like an option to maybe go down to like something like 900p to get 60 FPS, because maybe they couldn't get 1080p 60. Maybe it just wasn't possible. Even like a 720p mode, 60 would have been really great. Just give people the option if they 1080p 30 or 720 60 or 900 60 or whatever it ended up being. It would be nice to at least get that option. They didn't go over what resolution it will be at 60 FPS on the next-gen consoles. I'd imagine it's just going to be the same resolution. They are also doing some weather and color grading modifications, and they do just say there will be visual modifications. I'm not sure if that means that they're just going to say if a certain graphics setting was set to low, they'll change it to medium. But they did go over very quickly the weather and color grading modifications, and they look nice. It's kind of poorly represented on YouTube. It looks very compressed, so I don't know if it's really the best representation of how it's going to look. It did look like a nice change from what we saw in the YouTube video. So I'm sure everything's just going to look nicer because of the just color grading can make a big difference. The other thing they're going to be doing is Something I actually really noticed when the last time I played, when you get a new car, now they feel and handle so much differently, and in general much better than some of the older cars. And I guess it's been a big point of contention among the community, and they're now actually going to go back and update the older cars. It looks like they're going to do a few at a time. It's starting March 22nd, so it's going to come up pretty soon. They're going to start with the Nissan Skyline GTR, the Chevrolet Camaro SS Rally, and the Ford Focus RS at Rally. And it says that there's going to be continuous improvements. And now there's going to be a 5th year of updates. So there's going to be, new seasons of content. So I'm sure there's going to be a few new motor passes. They're going to have the new events, like they added in the police chases, and they had like the stunt one. And I don't remember them all off the top of my head, but I'm sure we're going to see, not like it changes the gameplay, too much, but there will be some new fun things to try out. One thing that I put in my review that I really would like to see, and I think would actually help the longevity of the game, is to see a track editor added into game. Because when you look at games like GTA 5 and Forza Horizon 5, there are huge communities around building your own track, and tons of people like driving that, and that helps keep the game alive for years to come. Best guess would be is that they don't want people to make courses that make it really easy to grind money for, so because they do have kind of microtransactions in the game. So that is my kind of, unfortunately, what I think is the actual case, which is a shame, but I mean, that's the only real reason I can think outside of maybe there's some technical hurdles. It does seem with the engine that they created for the game, there were definitely some short sights when they made this engine, so that might be a problem too. It's so great to see these updates, but unfortunately, it's making me think that the Crew 3 might be further away than I thought. I actually thought that it might come out or be announced this year, and I thought year 4 would be the last year. So now I don't think they would announce it while an active season is up, or at least not to the end of the season, because obviously, if they announce a new game, people probably aren't going to buy the season pass and stuff in the Crew 2, and they'll just wait for the new game. So what I'm thinking is, if they do announce the Crew 3, which they absolutely will be making a Crew 3, Ubisoft, they have their, all their different franchises, and they just keep making new games for them. So I'm sure there is a Crew 3 in development. Whether it comes out next year or the year after, I think it's just a matter of a few years before it comes out. What I think they're most likely doing is updating the game engine for the Crew 3, and they're kind of passing along some of those updates to the Crew 2. Kind of saw that with Gran Turismo 7. A lot of the updates they did in Gran Turismo Sport were just basically imported into Gran Turismo 7. So, and a lot of other companies do that. So I'm thinking that they are updating all these cars, and they will just kind of import them into the Crew 3, which is fine. Cars are cars. They don't need to be like completely remade from the ground up from game to game. What we would want to see is obviously more cars added in, and all other vehicles in the Crew 3. And obviously if they did keep America, I'd like to see more cities represented, and just make the map larger, and maybe some more tracks. And that's a whole other video, but I think the Crew 3 is a little bit further off. But because they're making so much money from the Crew 2, it's obviously seems to be a franchise that it's actually sold really, really well. According to Ubisoft, they said more than 30 million unique players have been attracted by the Crew franchise since 2014. What attracted by the Crew 2 means, I don't know. I'm guessing because they have all those free weekends, maybe they're bunching that in? I'm not sure. Or maybe they're including people who subscribe to Uplay Plus for a month and downloaded it, or whatever their subscription service is through Stadia. Something like that. They're probably tossing those people in. It would be a little lame if they threw in the free weekend people, but other companies do that. Regardless, there's other sale numbers I can find. It sold very, very well, and it seems like it's continued to sell. They have actually said that engagement and overall revenue is up respectively 70% and 53% versus 2 years ago, because it's a community-based game. So yeah, the Crew 2 is doing very well and continues to do even better. I think that, like I said, this is a great update. I'm hoping this will lead to the Crew 3. Let me know down in the comments if you're still playing. I've actually been wanting to get back into it. Obviously, I just reviewed Grid Legends, and now I'm working on Gran Turismo 7. So I've obviously been tied up by other racing games, but I would actually like to take a jump back into Crew 2. And when the patch comes out in July, I will absolutely be taking a look at it and doing a video on it. The last thing I would really like to see is cross-platform progression, because for me, I platinumed the Crew 2 on PlayStation 4. I really liked it, but you know, the 30 FPS in a racing game it's not fun. So I rebought it on PC, and I've played a ton on PC now. So obviously, and I've grinded a lot to get stuff on there. So it's like obviously I'll jump in to look at it for the patch, but you know, I would actually like to play it on the PlayStation 5. But I don't want to lose it on all the progression and redo everything on the PlayStation 5 that I did on the PC. And obviously there's a bunch of summits that I missed out on the PlayStation platform, so I wouldn't have access to all those unique cars that I got and all the, you know, all the cosmetic stuff, because I did the motor pass a few times. So I would really like to see that cross-platform progression added in. That's kind of like the last thing, that and like 120 frames per second for the PC would be really just two great things to see. Or even 120 hertz mode for the current gen consoles. I don't see why the Series X and PlayStation 5 can't do a 1080p 120 hertz mode, but again, it does seem like it's a problem with the physics of the game engine being tied to the frame rate, so I don't think they can actually go over 60 hertz unless they did some massive changes to the game. It would probably be more trouble than it's worth, although, I mean, unless they're starting with a brand new game engine for the Crew 3, it is something that they would have to do. I imagine they wouldn't start from the scratch. They'll probably take the current game engine, and like I said, they're probably working on it. That's why we're getting some of the updates passed along to the Crew 2. We'll be seeing the Crew 3, but they're going to have to do that work at some point if they want to. There's no way they released Crew 3 without 120 hertz support on it, at the very least PC, if not, you know, current gen consoles, because we are seeing, you know, racing games like F1 2021, Dirt 5, and WRC 9 and 10 all have 120 hertz mode in the games now. So I've actually been playing F1 2021 with 120 hertz mode on my gaming monitor, and oh, it's just so silky smooth. I love it. It's just great. I want to see more games. So anyways, let me know down in the comments if you're still playing, if you're excited for this next gen patch, and I will see you all in the next video, which will be my Gran Turismo 7 review. Like I said, it's going to be a big, in-depth review. It's kind of like a special game. It's like, you know, it's like racing game royalty. So I really wanted to make sure I did it justice. So I'm really taking a hard look at everything in the game and making sure people know what they're getting into when they spend their $60 or $70 or even a bit more, as we'll go on in the review. See you all in the next video.